conversation you had with the president on your podcast.
It was, look, I'm a Las Vegas guy. I'm a hospitality guy. And I was a little frustrated by the fact that the national news wasn't talking about these things that are so important to us. So I sent out a request to the Biden camp and the Trump camp to do a hospitality-based interview. And I made it clear that this is not a combative interview or an endorsive interview. This is to talk. And we were thrilled when we heard back from the Trump camp.
But you said you were kind of surprised in subsequent interviews. You said you were a little bit surprised by the depth of his knowledge about the industry.
I was. He's owned casinos, he's owned hotels, he's written those checks. So, I mean, it's sort of interesting to have a president in the White House who, in fact, has invested in our industry.
He could be an adjunct professor over here at our UNLV hotel school, couldn't he?
He probably could.
Since you're such an expert in this area, thousands of hospitality workers will be heading into the booth tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, what's going to be on their mind? What's going to be their main consideration when they choose who to vote for?
Well, I think we need to vote selfishly at this time because, the issues are so great on the table. And, if I was in our industry, I'm so worried about all my friends who aren't working, or if they are working, their income is down so much that, who is going to jumpstart our state and our business quicker? Who can get the hotel rooms full quicker? When that happens, our lives all start to stabilize. So to me, that's a critical element in this vote, to me.
Yeah, the service industry is the mainstay of our economy, and we've had 30% unemployment rate at one time. So these are union workers, these are culinary workers, bars, waitresses. They're all suffering.
Yeah, and there were 4 key points, if I can mention quickly, that the president committed to. The first was a renewal of the PPP plan, but he put 6 months of debt in the commitment going back, which means a lot to be able to cover that kind of debt. The second one is big. He wants to reinstitute the business meal deduction. That would mean a lot to convention business and to business-related tourism. The third is a domestic travel incentive, which would mean an awful lot to us, where in essence there'd be a 30%, 40% tax or other type of incentive to facilitate domestic travel. We put that domestic travel incentive, we put business meal deductions in place, a little dollars to catch up on debt and payroll. That sounds like a meaningful plan to me.
Regardless of who wins the White House, would you say those are items that should be on the plan going forward for the hospitality industry, or what would you add to that list?
Well, to me, the biggie was the debt, because a lot of people were 6-7 months behind in debt, particularly smaller operators. So the PPP structure, I think, is terrific. It'll dig us out. I think the deductible business meal program is a great revenue build. That was removed about 18 years ago. And we did see a change in revenue when that happened. That's a biggie. I think domestic travel incentive to us here in Las Vegas is huge.
So essentially he was saying, let's make this retroactive.
Yeah. And I also, by the way, don't think this is based upon who wins in the election. I believe that this will happen after the election either way. And clearly the restaurant industry is not a partisan industry. Both sides are supportive of it, so it should happen.
So what though has to happen on the national and the local level after this election to get this hospitality industry moving again?
Well, I think those are the types of stimulus that will happen. Of course, the vaccine is huge. And there was now releases just the other day that it looks like we're going to have most high-risk people vaccinated by the end of the year. That's a great start. And we're told 600-700 million doses by April. I believe that the next thing people are going to do after they get their vaccine is go to dinner.
Probably so. People miss it. They miss going out. They miss commiserating with their friends, having good food. Yeah, that's important.
Also, when you think about it, if I can just add a little point, I think international travel is going to take a much longer hit. So if international travel is less appealing, we get a domestic travel incentive in place. Las Vegas starts looking like the greatest travel choice available for a couple of years. So I'm bullish. Yeah. I see real opportunity this spring, post-vaccine, post-domestic travel. So I think that we need to hang in there, let this happen after the election. And again, I see Boomtown this spring.
If anything, I think after the 2008 recession, Las Vegas proved that they suffer low lows, but very high highs, and they recover quickly. Is that what you see for this economy?
I do. You know, the old cliche, pent up demand, it's real now. It's been a long time. I can't wait to see what happens when people get that vaccine, but I know that we're going to be high on the list.
You call Las Vegas home. you care about this community and the people in it, regardless of who wins. Let's move past the election. What is this community looking for the next year, 2 years, 5 years out?
I think we need to stabilize a little bit, obviously, and I think we have enjoyed pretty stable employment and employment growth for quite a while. We need to get back to that point so our community stabilize. I think that all of our issues really in Las Vegas are economic at this point. We got to get our jobs back. We got to get the wheel spinning again, and then we get back to being the great community that we are, and we are a very special community. But we can't be a community when we can't be with each other.
And 2020 is just an exceptionally bad year. What are your neighbors saying? What are your friends saying when you talk on the phone with them? What are their personal comments?
People sort of feel that anything could happen at this point. When are the locusts going to come?
When are the frogs going to fall?
Yes, but I think we're all looking forward to a new year. And think about this. If the vaccine is real and we know it's being distributed, we can really have a wonderful new year. And boy, I think we're all eager to say goodbye to 2020. That's for darn sure.
Yeah, and that's so true, because even one little mention in the news about anything, and the stock market goes up or down just precipitously. So the light at the end of the tunnel, I think, is pretty important. Would you say?
It is, and I say that we're winding down, and I say winding down in the sense of a clock. We've got 7-8 months into this. We have 2 or 3 to go. So we really are coming out the other side of this from a time standpoint. Sure, I know our numbers are going up, et cetera, right now, but the vaccine is around the corner. There's 3 different types, 3 different manufacturers. We have hundreds of millions coming. So there is light at the end of the tunnel. And we're a city that really bounces back quickly. We all know that. So as soon as we get the travel floodgates open, I think we bounce back very quickly.
Jon, that's all I had. Unless you had something else you want to say about our community or your hopes for the future.
Other than Las Vegas is a special place. I've lived here for about 8 years, and the sense of community in Las Vegas is very special as compared to the other places I live. That sense of community and the respect and the way we all live and function together is what's going to pull us out of this quickly. And when people look at Vegas, they think of blinking lights. I think of that community. And that's what's special.
It's so true. People are surprised by that who live outside the city. They're surprised by the community we have here. But if you've been living here, you understand it, you see it, you feel it.
Yep, absolutely.
Jon, thank you so much. I appreciate your time, my friend.